Greetings, my friends. I've been warning you about this for years and years and years. One of my sisters, Lori, shared this with me, and I went to the site and went back to the original link and vetted it, checked everything out. Checks out. Now, some people are saying it's a fact that this federal agent did, in fact, commit suicide, and there is a suicide note, and it was from a source that shared it. And some people are saying that the note is of true things that will come. Some say it's the ramblings of a psychotic man, but I'll read it for you. Those of you who have your eyes open and who know the truth and who have been listening to me for years and years now and seeing how I share what's going on behind closed doors, you will already know exactly what's going on with this thing. So I feel horrible this man took his life. Let's go ahead and see what he said in his suicide note. The officer revealed in his suicide note terrifying plans that the feds have been finalizing. I'm just going to go ahead and read verbatim. It's a little bit of reading, but we'll get it done as soon as we can. If the American people knew what the government is planning, they would rise up and overthrow it. If I or anyone else in the federal government revealed what is coming, we would be killed anyway. So now I will reveal what I know. This is what the guy wrote that took his own life. We in federal law enforcement have been drilling for several years to control riots and uprisings from a coming financial collapse and widespread bank failures. The drills involve life-size images of American men, even women and children, whom we are told to shoot for practice and to get used to it. And that's what they do in the military. They desensitize you and they make things into targets so you don't think they're actually humans. They do it in video games as well. The military uses those also. We have been told that the economy is terminally ill and will fail sometime in 2016. We are also told the banks are all insolvent and the FDIC doesn't have nearly enough funds to bail out depositors. We are also told these events are unavoidable and it is imperative that the government survive when people rise up over this. When the collapse takes place, detention camps created by FEMA to house illegal aliens, whom we were going to deport, will instead be used to imprison American citizens whom the government feels constitutes a threat. American citizens will be rounded up without warrants and imprisoned without trial for God knows how long. These camps have been equipped to carry out Hitler-scale killings, an actual purge of American citizens by the very government which they themselves created and pay for. I cannot be a party to this, he goes on to say. The note goes on to say, to talk about state-level National Guard being disarmed by the feds, over 1 billion rounds. Actually, I've covered this. There's many hundreds of billions of rounds of ammunition purchased by the feds, and the military over-deployed and now being shrunk. He goes on to say, the government knows the military will rise up to stop this, so our military is being deployed overseas intentionally, involved in foreign fights, and deliberately shrunk in size, so they cannot be here to help Americans. And I can tell you the military is definitely shrinking down and not being replenished. This is why certain ammunition and weaponry has been removed from state-level National Guard armories, and over 1 billion rounds of hollow point ammunition has been bought by the federal government. Actually, like I said, it's many billions. I think it's like 100 billion now. The states themselves have been disarmed of military-grade firepower so they cannot defend themselves from the federal activities. This is also why police departments have been militarized and provided with armored vehicles and weapons of war, the note says. They are militarized everywhere, my friends. When the inevitable collapse begins to take place, electric power to the entire country will be shut off, as will all forms of communication. All banks will be immediately closed. No one will be able to get any money because all ATMs will be offline. And again, I think this might be part of the false flag with the so-called EMP from North Korea that I've done videos on. Credit, debit, and EBT cards will not function. Anyone without cash will have no way to get any. The emergency alert system will be used to take over all broadcast stations and tell the public this is a result of a cyber attack. But while the American people patiently wait for things to get back to normal, the government will unleash roundups of citizens they deem militants or dangerous, with all civilian communications out and all TV and radio stations taken over by the emergency alert system. By the time word spreads of what's taking place, the government will already have the upper hand. We're so spoiled with having the internet and everything else, you'll be deaf, dumb, and blind to what's going on. Federal prisoners to be gassed to death, he says. He says, every federal prison has been outfitted with lethal gas systems. When things go bad, all prisoners in all prisons will be placed in their cells on lockdown. Prison staff will depart the facility, and certain designated person will trigger a lethal gas system. All federal prisoners, regardless of the crime of their sentence, will be gassed to death in their cells. Once the gas clears, the dead will be removed, and the prisons will then be used to house citizens who fight against the federal onslaught. Then he says priests are being recruited to quell opposition. So intent is the government to succeed, they've recruited priests, rabbis, and clerics from all religions to quote appropriate scriptures about obeying the government. They are also trained to tell people not to fight back, not to worry, and that their best hope is just to go along and pray. Okay. Executive Order 13603, which I've went on in length about before. The 10-page document is a blueprint for federal takeover of the economy. Specifically, Obama's plan involves seizing control. And again, Obama, my friends, is not going anywhere. Even if he does leave the White House, he's going to rule the world from the UN, and he will still rule everything from there. In this order, all commodities and products that are capable of being ingested by either human or animals, all forms of energy, all forms of civil transportation, all usable water from all sources, health resources, drugs, biological products, medical devices, materials, facilities, health supplies, services and equipment, forced labor, or induction, as the executive order delicately refers to military conscription. Moreover, federal officials would issue regulations to prioritize and allocate resources. They take over everything, my friends, everything. And again, the executive order, I've read it many times. It is right on the money. And Obama will have total totalitarian control of everything, my friends, of everything. The government could effectively have bring up cyber sabotage or suicide bombings or chemical warfare, nuclear missiles or other threats to say they need this. Again, false flags that Obama could carry out. And then he said that the feds have a database of preppers. We in federal law enforcement have also been told the government has a full database of the preppers who will be dealt with first by armed federal agents coming to take their guns, their food, their stocks, so it can be redistributed as the government sees fit. And as I've said many times, the prep stuff's not going to work, my friends. That's going to be a dead end. If the dead officer's claims about an unavoidable economic and banking collapse are true, would it then follow that the executive order put in place by Obama would be activated? Would all of us find ourselves in forced labor while the government takes our food and redistributes it under executive order's paragraph about allocating resources? This is terrifying stuff. Much, much more sad, terrible things, man. But again, I've been talking about this for years, and this is no surprise to me. And they go on to say, the source, we urge everyone to stay calm, think rationally, and decide whether or not to take any action to prepare in case this person's suicide note is a fact and not the ramblings of an insane, paranoid person who killed himself. So you go ahead and think what you want to think. All I can do is lay it out there for you and tell you this. Your only hope is Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, my friends. If you've never been saved or you're backslidden, I've got a prayer and 6 vital next steps in the box below the video. Pray that prayer, do those steps as soon as possible, because no one's guaranteed any more time in your life. If you'd like prayer, contact me. I pray for you every day. And remember, America, the former America, now Obama land, is indeed the great whore of Babylon. I've got a viral video. Just type in YouTube, the great whore of Babylon. My video's in the very top of the whole list. You'll see it there. .kids. It'll tell you what's going on. If you'd like, and so we're destined to be destroyed after the rapture, harpazo, catching away anyways. This may all lead up to it again, which I've been saying for years. True Christians, your job is to witness and pray for the lost every night and day. If you're not doing it, you need to start doing it now. And if you are, great. If you are, look up. Our redemption draweth nigh. We fly soon. Very serious stuff, my friends. Very, very serious stuff. And all I can do, again, is tell you and warn you. And if you look back at my record, I've been warning about this, again, for about 7 to 8 years on Facebook and 4 years plus on YouTube. And I will keep warning. I'll keep putting the word out until I'm raptured or dead. Thanks again to my sister Lori for sharing this. You guys share it with everybody you possibly can, and get ready. Get right with the Lord. If you're a backslider, get right with him now before your time runs out. If you're unsaved, get with him right now. Take care of yourselves. Bye.